Everybody's muted.
I think we're automatically muted, but we can unmute ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
I did that. Good morning, Commissioner Marble.
Good morning. I just left.
Left what?
I have a screen that says join the meeting.
Good morning, Ms. Knox.
I was going to stay off camera, Mr. Chair, so as not to distract you.
Oh, stop. I'm
I
glad
feel
you
like I'm right in your business, so I'll try to
did.
be unobtrusive.
There we go.
I see Commissioner Leclerc's name, but not her.
I just asked her to turn her camera on.
Oh, great. Thank you. Well, we're supposed to get a little warmer weather the rest of the week. Yeah, I agree. Good morning, Commissioner Leclerc. You're muted. You're still muted.
When I look at her as a participant, I don't see the microphone as an option. I don't know if she might need to exit and then readmit into the meeting.
Okay, on my screen I have her in two different places, one with a picture and one without. I, I don't know if that is making a difference.
Same here.
Oh, now I just see her once.
Okay, there we go.
Yahoo!
Yeah, for some reason my computer wouldn't let me sign on, so I'm on my phone now, which I'm really not used to using.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'm gonna try to set it up so it doesn't.
Give us all motion sickness.
I just don't want to flying around the room during the meeting. There we go. There we go.
That looks great.
Thank you.
All right, is everybody all ready to start?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll call the meeting to order. This is the February 10th, 11 o'clock special meeting of the Commission on Governmental Ethics and Election Practices. And we're here to talk about some potential legislation. And I wonder if Jonathan, Mr. Wayne, could give us some background.
Sure. So this is being proposed by staff in light of the complaint from Mr. Alex Titcomb against the Maine Democratic Party regarding the party's spending and contributions related to question 1 from last year. And the commission received suggestions, and I feel the same way, that how party committees ought to report when they spend more than $5,000 to influence a ballot question, or when they receive more than $5,000 in contributions. It could be clearer in statute. So the suggestion was, well, why not use this legislative session in which there is a commission bill still being considered as a vehicle or an opportunity to clarify the law? So that seemed good to me. So the commission staff look at the new electronic filing system that is going on live very soon, within a day or two, we hope, and how the data is going to show up on there when different types of committees raise or spend money to influence a ballot question. And our suggestion to the commission is it's just as simple in terms of how the public will access the information if party committees continue to report their expenditures on ballot questions as part of their regular reports. That is, there's no real difference, not much difference at all in terms of how the information is displayed to the public. So our suggestion would be, as a clarification in statute, requiring party committees to include their ballot question transactions in their regular campaign finance reports, which there is some direction now in statute for them to do that. And then moving forward to have an explicit exemption from the definition of ballot question committee for party committees. So it'd be clear that they would be, moving forward, it would be clear that they're reporting this ballot question activity in the regular party reports rather than their ballot question committee reports. So we drafted some legislation to achieve that. And I really owe the commission members and counsel for the Democratic Party and our counsel and the public an apology, because when we converted the Word document that showed all the insertions and deletions clearly into a PDF, somehow they vanished, and I didn't realize that. So if the commission is interested, it's the amendment that we're proposing is very simple. I could walk, there's only 3 paragraphs that are being touched by the amendment. I'd be happy to walk through them at the appropriate time.
Yes, please. I'd like that.
Okay. So turning to the legislation, the first change that the first 2 changes that we're proposing are to Title 21A, Section 1017-A. And the first change would be the insertion of the opening sentence that you see there. So right now there is no sentence that says the committees of political parties qualified under Section 301 shall file campaign finance reports on forms prescribed by the commission as required by this section. So I think that's a good idea, just to sort of explain what the purpose of that section is. And we also are very partial to the phrase forms prescribed by the commission, because it gives us the authority to create the paper or the online forms that we think will help the public. We think that's valuable to have that phrase in statute. So that's the first insertion. Then, and there's really just 3 sections I want to refer to. I could pause after each one, or I could just keep going.
Let's keep going for now.
Okay. The next section that we propose changing is in subsection 2, which has the heading expenditures to influence a campaign. And you'll see an a paragraph A through a paragraph D. So I'll just address each one of those as a list.
Are they all changed?
There's a wording, no, B and C are content that are still in, I mean, B and C are the same content as in current law. So
Okay.
it's A and B1 and D that contains new information.
Okay.
So our suggestion is that the statute be clear that a party committee has to specify that each candidate or ballot question that the party committee is supporting or opposing by the expenditure. I think that's not as clear in current law, so we think that would be a good change in A. And then B is the same as in current law. And then B1, we're proposing that the statute be clear that the party committee has to report the amount spent to support or oppose each candidate or ballot question. Our view is that's kind of implied from current law, but it's not spelled out. And we think that's would provide the clearest information for the public if the statute included that language in B1. And then, as I mentioned, C is largely the same. And then D is the name and address of each payee. That is not in current law, but that's pretty typical for all campaign finance reports, not just in Maine, but in the other states. If there's an expenditure, they have to at least state the name of the payee, and all of our other filers report the address of the payee. So we thought that was important to actually have that in statute.
Okay.
So that's the second subsection that would be modified. And then the only other change is going to the last page of the legislation. Toward the bottom, there's a statutory definition of ballot question committee, and this is in Title 21A, Section 1052. So this is page 4 of the legislation. If anyone's not with me, let me know and I can get you to the right spot.
I think I'm good.
Okay, it's the last page of the legislation, just above the summary. There's a definition for ballot question committee. And we're proposing to insert in the last sentence the phrase a party committee. So the sentence would read, the term ballot question committee does not include a political action committee, a party committee, or an exempt donor. And that would be intended to clarify that party committees don't qualify moving forward, do not qualify as ballot question committees. And again, the goal is to have all their ballot question related transactions show up in their regular reports. So we don't want to in any way encourage duplicate reporting. So, and that's the last part of the proposal.
Okay. Is there anything else to add?
Not for me.
Does anybody have questions for Mr. Wayne? Yes, Commissioner Hastings.
Thank you, Jonathan. I note that now you would require that parties identify the expenditures for ballot questions, I assume individually. Is there will there be any way that the filings will total up those ballot question expenditures for a particular ballot question? Or will you have to go through the entire filing and add them up yourself?
We can move in that. Well, I can tell you where they will be totaled, which is there are other places on the website that we are hoping will sort of serve as an open door or a portal where the public will figure out who's spending money to influence a ballot question and how much. So the total, what the public would see is in the actual report currently, or as currently designed by our new vendors, they would see the total expenditures for any purpose. Ballot question expenditures would not be pulled out, but we could work on that, and that would probably be a very good idea. But in addition, there'll be a ballot question page where if people have an interest on the public site to know which committees are raising or spending money to influence a ballot question, they'll see a list of committees, including the party committees, and there will be a total there for how much that party has spent to influence the ballot question committee. But I think it's a good suggestion, so we can work on that with our vendor to get that in the report.
So there will be a place to identify the total spent by any party committee on a particular ballot question?
Right. There's a page that tries to get sort of globally the different groups that are trying to influence the ballot question and a total for each one. And that is currently planned. And so the party committee's total will be there, but I think it should also be in the report so we can make that happen.
So in each expenditure for a ballot question made by a party committee, the party's report with that expenditure will have a line item that identifies it as an expenditure for that ballot question?
That's correct. So
And
they
its
will, yeah,
purpose?
yes. So every time the party committee in the new system enters an expenditure, at the bottom, there's a section of the expenditure data entry page that says, that identifies the target candidate or the target ballot question that the expenditure is intended to support or oppose. And so they will then select from a drop-down list the active ballot questions, and they'll click on the ballot question just after they enter the date, the payee, the date, the amount, and they'll click on that ballot question, and then they'll click on support or oppose. There'll be two little boxes. And so that way they will indicate, as they are entering each expenditure, which ballot question they're intending to support or oppose. And that'll show up on the report.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I've got another question too.
No, please go ahead.
I think when the Democratic Party appeared last month, one of the people there who was involved in uploading their data said that, at least with the current system, it was very difficult, if not, there was really no way for them to make that identification in their upload. Is that changing under this new system?
Yes. And also the staff actually disagrees with that, but it's a polite disagreement. We haven't had a chance to have a back and forth with the party committee on it, but we did send a request for information to the party committee, and we explained, we shared with them the instructions for how the upload feature has worked in our old system. And we think it would, we're open to hearing a contrary point of view from the party committee, but our information is there was a way for them when they were doing the upload of the data to indicate which ballot questions were being supported or opposed. So, we hope to have continued dialogue on that. And, I sort of loosely expect that might come up at the March meeting. But in any case, in the current system, whether people are typing in the information by hand or whether they're doing an electronic upload, either way, they will be able to specify which ballot question is being supported or opposed.
And its purpose.
And its purpose, yes.
So let me just interject that I don't think this legislation requires that. And I would recommend changing it a little bit to make it require that. I'm looking particularly at on the first page, paragraph 2, subparagraph B1.
Mm-hmm.
The amount spent to support or oppose each candidate or ballot question. That doesn't, to my eyes anyway, that doesn't seem to require you to break those out by candidate or ballot question. So I think I would suggest maybe adding language after the word question, something like identified by category of expenditure. My goal in all of this, and I think that the case that we talked about last time really showed a couple of weaknesses in the statutes. And so my goal is to make sure that a member of the public can find out what a party committee is spending to support or oppose a ballot question. And I think this statute as written doesn't do that effectively, but I would add that, and I think that will help. Excuse me.
Do you mean the concern is we want to make sure that the party committee says, we're spending this on a mailing or we're spending it on staff. Is that it?
Nope.
No.
We're spending this on a candidate or a ballot question.
Okay. All right.
And which ballot question and whether whether we're supporting or opposing it.
We're fine with that insertion or any other change that the commission wants.
Mr. Bolton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a suggestion, understanding where you're going with your concern. I'm just wondering if you think it would be more useful to add it in C, the qualification in C rather than B1. So in other words, when you're saying what the date and the purpose of your expenditure is, some clarifying language saying, and the purpose means it must include, which ballot initiative or which candidate you're supporting.
Yeah, I think that's great. That would be great. And my other thing in the definitional section, the one that we changed, the term ballot question committee does not include a political action committee. That seems to be, it seems to leave it hanging a little bit. It says it doesn't include that, but it doesn't say that that the political action committee or party committee doesn't need to ever register as a ballot question committee. And we could be much more direct and say that a political action committee, party committee, or an exempt donor does not need to register as a ballot commission or ballot question committee. It just seemed a little too vague, and I think being direct is the way to go.
Staff is absolutely no problem with that.
Yeah. Sadly, that's kind of the way I am. I'm kind of direct.
Yeah.
Does anybody else, any commissioners have any other thoughts for Mr. Wayne?
No.
Nope.
Okay, Mr. Bolton.
I just want to make sure with this last change, I'm thinking this through in real time, so I'm not sure I'm right about this, but so in 1052-A, I believe there's a provision that can require a political action committee to register as a BQC. And Director Wayne, I don't know if you can, if you can help me out with this. And I just want to make sure that we're not going to suggest something in the definition that's going to conflict with that in some way. And I think it's 1052A(1)(2)A.
I would not want to cause more problems than we're solving.
Well, so what I appreciate John's suggestion. So what he's referring to is we have a general registration requirement that says a ballot question committee shall register with the commission within 7 days of receiving contributions or making expenditures in the aggregate in excess of $5,000. And then that's in subsection 1 of 1052-A. Then in subsection 1A, there are a couple of exceptions to the registration requirement. And the thought process here was to make it, if there are PACs out there that want to spend a limited amount of money or receive a limited amount of contributions for the purpose of influencing a ballot question in a year. And that amount is 10,000 or less. They could actually do that as a PAC without forming a ballot question committee. So normally any organization that goes over 5,000 has to register as a ballot question committee, but the statute actually says a registered PAC can go up to 10,000 and still stay a PAC and not go through the complications of having to turn themselves into a ballot or, register separately as a ballot question. So that's
why
yeah.
couldn't we just leave PAC out of this paragraph 2A in 1052? Just say party committees and exempt donors are not required to register as ballot question committees. Because it seems to be thoroughly covered in 1052A.
So how would I read in 2A? I'm sorry.
Party committees and exempt donors do not need to register as ballot question committees. Because it seems that the situation with PACs is pretty well covered in 1052A, or it sounds that way. I don't have it in front of me.
I think that would work well, personally. I think that would be good.
And this will go through the revisor's office on the way to the legislative committee, right?
I think process is that we would provide it directly to the committee and then they would work. I actually don't know about the second part, but I've always thought that then somehow whatever collaboration that could happen with the revisor happens at a later stage. But we typically provide committee amendments right to the committee.
Directly to the committee. I think the committee could ask the revisor to take a look at it, but usually the revisor is involved as the legislation is getting to the committee. So I think they would have to, if they wanted the revisor to weigh in on it, I think they'd have to ask that.
Okay, should we make that suggestion or?
Not a bad suggestion. I mean, we can do whatever we can do, but it makes sense to have another set of eyes on it to make sure that we're not causing other conflicts that we're not even aware of. And that's something we could just suggest to the committee when it's provided to them. And it's up to them whether they want to do it or not. Mr. Bolton?
Yeah, I think it's possible that it might be useful to have a cross-reference to 1052A in the revised 1052 definition of the BQC. So I guess I'd like to, if it's possible, to sort of think through that a little bit more, and if you're willing to sort of authorize us to add a cross-reference if it seems to make sense, just to make sure it's clear. That's my only thought that I have about this, that it might make it clearer if there's a cross-reference, but I'm not convinced of that.
Yeah,
that's
yep. I get that. I would be willing to do that. I don't know if the other commissioners would or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Any other commissioners have comments or questions? And I'll give Ms. Knox a chance to say anything she wishes. Ms. Knox, we'd love to hear from you.
Oh, well, thank you for letting me listen to the outline. I think this is great. I think it adds a lot of clarity. I'm sort of on the fence as Mr. Bolton is about the cross-reference, but that's not my job. But I do love how these statutes work together. So it is fun to go through the definitions. No, I think it's great. We just need clarity. From the Democratic Party standpoint, it's perfectly fine if you want addresses, if you want that, that's all fine. We just need to know what exactly it is you want. And the only thing I might just asterisk for Jonathan is I know we have a ways to get the system up, but figuring out how, or working with the vendor to figure out how to do these large uploads and making sure that the drop downs. Anyway, I'm just flagging that because I do think the way we do it can be awkward. So I just had that note to maybe talk with you about that. We are talking to our vendor who files them to figure out sort of how they do it. So that would be the only note. And I will admit, I'm assuming I'm assuming you still want us to go forward providing the information on the investigation, which I will admit feels a bit awkward because there seems to be acknowledgement that the statute is not as clear as it could be, which was our argument that we picked a side certainly and did it a particular way. So to have this happening and then have the investigation happening feels a little strange to me, but obviously we will do whatever you want, but I would be remiss if I didn't note that it's feeling a little out of order to us. So, and we do have to, for example, pay our vendor to go through and figure out, get the answers to what the commission wants. So I'm just noting that for your information, I guess.
Sure, and I get that. I don't know that we're in a position to address whether or not the investigation should go forward at this meeting.
Understood. Yeah.
So I think we'll have to let that go until it's ripe. But I think once we do, I think we'll absolutely, I will anyway, take into account that we've made these changes in response to that situation. And I think that'll certainly be a consideration.
Appreciate that.
And thank you. And I would, as you mentioned, I would encourage Mr. Wayne to work with the party committees to make sure that future reporting is as smooth and straightforward as possible.
We absolutely will. And there was, I mean, the commission will remember that ActBlue had trouble with an upload and was filing late. And we fleshed out that the current system is awkward and that the vendor that we are leaving is not very good about making fixes. So we have high hopes that this new vendor is going to be a lot easier to work with. And as a matter of fact, I believe that the template for the automatic upload has already been transmitted to the Maine Democratic Party in connection with the special election that's coming up. And there's a report due Friday. So
I did just see that. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at it, but I did see it come through. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, that's great. That's great. And thank you for your input, Ms. Knox.
Yeah, no, thank you for letting me participate.
What do commissioners think? Would you, I would move that we authorize Jonathan to submit this legislation with the changes that we've recommended. Is there a second?
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Commissioner Hastings,
Yes.
Commissioner Marble,
Yes.
Commissioner Leclerc,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. So you have your marching orders, Jonathan. Thank you.
Thank you, Commission. Appreciate it.
And would somebody like to make the motion that never fails?
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second? We'll go straight to a vote. Commissioner Hastings,
Yes.
Commissioner Marble,
Yes.
Commissioner Leclerc,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. So thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Knox. Thank you, Jonathan and John. I think we're making a difference.
Great. Thank you.